So in this video, I'm going to break down compositions. I'm going to do this once a week, every Sunday, and I'm going to take masterpieces, wonderful compositions, wonderful pieces of work, and I'm going to break them down, analyze them, and tell you why they are so good. I'm going to break it all down. I'm not going to talk about the painting itself in terms of the brushwork or the medium or the handling. I'm not going to talk about the colours. It's just the structure, the composition, and how it works and how it makes the painting so strong. It's no surprise that when you see a wonderful painting, it always has an incredible structure behind it. It's always there. You peel it back and it's there. But you have to break things down and you have to know what to look for. So this is a painting by Arthur Wesley Dow. He was an American painter, wrote a wonderful book on composition. I really advise you to buy it or get it if you can, if you haven't already got it. Um, Dow was very much inspired by Eastern art. He was very much Japanese painting, woodblock design, uh, and he believed in simplicity in compositions, and it was all about line, mass, and space with Dow. He's one of the guys that I study quite often because there's always a lesson, compositional lesson you can take from his work. So what I'd like to do is break down four principles as to how I analyze compositions. And the first one is, what is the dominant mass? Then what is the support mass for the dominant mass? Where are the quiet areas, or is there a quiet area, resting place for the eye? These paintings always have one. And then finally, how does the eye work its way through the painting? That's what I want to try and figure out with this. So, first of all, the dominant mass is the water. As you can see, this is large, very much taken over most of the painting. It's probably about 65%, maybe even 70%. It is a huge area. So this is the dominant mass. The support mass is the land, and we have these tree masses here. They're all one. They're all unified with the land. The reflections unified with the land. So all of this is a support mass for the water. Then we look for the quiet areas, and you can see the water is very quiet. Sky is very quiet. So there's an awful lot of silence in this painting. It's incredibly calm. And if you notice the colours, and I said I wasn't going to mention the colours, but they're deliberately incredibly restrained, which leads to the calm of the painting. Um, and now let's look at how the eye goes through the painting. So you can enter in from the right here. It follows this land bank and follows the contour here and leads up into the landscape. We've got these masses here, and eventually the eye will ascend to the sky to the focal point, which is this sun or moon. There's also another entry from the left. We can come in here, and the eye is controlled by a zigzag into the land, then to these masses, these tree masses, and again ascending into the sky to the focal point. You'll notice there's masses on either side. They're not accidents, they're deliberate. They're to stop the eye from wandering off the page. And the same way this is as well. This is muted. This is incredibly muted. It gives recession by tone, but it also means that it doesn't entice too much attention. Same with this. So these are blocks, stop the eye wandering. We've also got this rock rhythm. So we've got a large rock here, medium size, small, and a small to medium size here. And if you notice, the zigzag that we get here is echoed here. There's a zigzag. that runs through here. It's a rhythm. It's like a reverberation. It's like a repetition of the rhythm that we've got here. Another zigzag. And you'll notice also that the tone is the same. This is not lighter. This is not darker. They're all the same tone. They provide recession by size. So we have the large here. This is clearly dominant in the 4. And then we have these 3 clustered here. This gap here is essential for rhythm. So if we had a rock here, this would be monotonous because they would be equally spaced. But we don't. We have a large space here. So the rhythm is broken temporarily. And then we have this grouping here of rocks. And the eye can carry on to the contour, to the land bank. And we can follow this zigzag approach into the landscape and to this main mass and ascending into the sky to the bright accent. So they're the 4 principles, and that's the main thing that I look for when I analyze these paintings. But as an additional analysis, I'll look firstly for depth and recession. This looks to be very flat, and it is very flat. It's deliberately very flat. But these rocks provide tremendous amount of recession through size. And you can see there's a lesson in this alone. You can get recession in your paintings just through size. You don't have to have all this rendering and edge control to get recession. You just have a rhythm and size difference. Make sure one of the objects is dominant and the rest subordinate and grouped. Make sure the rhythm is controlled and you get recession. You control the eye through the painting and you imply recession. Okay? There's a little bit of tonal difference here. This is dominant, so it's slightly more toned than this mass here, and more toned than this mass and this one. But these, like I say, act as blocks for the eye. Stop the eye going off the page. So the eye is contained. We have recession, we have depth, we have spaciousness, and the eye is completely contained, and it goes to the focal point and can come back down and work its way around like a circuit. The eye is always contained in these paintings. It never has chance to escape. The eye is always controlled, taken to where it needs to go. So let's talk about the focal point. The focal point, the bright accent, whether it's a sun or a moon, it's deliberate. And if you were to take this away, this painting would just be too dull. It would be too quiet. It would be quiet to the point where it has no voice. So the sun acts as an activation. It activates because it's bright, it's isolated, it's near the horizon. It's an activator. It's deliberately put there to bring some life into the painting and to provide a focal point. Because without it, like I say, this would be too quiet. It would die from its silence, if you like. So there's one thing here with this mass. This is symmetrical, which generally speaking is not a good idea in any composition. So we have symmetry here, but this symmetry is masterfully added because this symmetry anchors the painting. It anchors it brilliantly, in fact, and ties everything together. So symmetry can be a very useful addition in these compositions, and it's just knowing when to add it. So overall, this painting is calm, it's quiet, it's unified because the values are very tight. The light accent is controlled. It's the focal point. It's an activator. What would be a very quiet scene without it? And it all sits together. It has a tremendous amount of space. And it works. It conveys calm because you have limited amount of shapes. It's not too busy. You have limited colours. The colours are all restrained. They're all muted. They're all what you would say restful colours. Greens, the bluey green, the earthy colour here. It's like it's like a burnt, it's like an umber, like a raw umber colour, and maybe a sepia type colour here. But they're all restrained. There's nothing here. These are greys. These look like browny greys, but they're all there to convey calm. The masses are grouped, which also maintains calm. These masses are grouped. These rocks are grouped. These are grouped. There's nothing isolated except for this, but this plays off the dominance of this central mass. So this is subordinate, this is dominant, and again that's deliberate. And the humongous quiet areas, usually there's a little patch in a painting that's a quiet area, it's like a resting place for the eye, but this whole scene, all this water is quiet, sky is quiet, the land is quiet. It's an incredibly calm painting, and everything knits together beautifully. So that's it in terms of the analysis. I hope that's been enlightening. I hope that's been helpful. And what you find is when you break these principles down and break them down to simplicity so that they're workable principles that you can apply to your own work. And you just remember these things. Dominant mass, subordinate mass, a quiet area, resting place for the eye, making sure you intelligently guide the eye through the painting to the focal point. Simple stuff, but sometimes you don't remember it. Sometimes you don't internalize it to the point where you do it. And what looks to be simple isn't, and you sometimes forget. So you can take these principles away and apply them to your own work and see what happens. So that was Arthur Wesley Dow. I'll be doing a lot of his paintings because, like I said, I do study Dow quite a bit for his compositions. They are incredible. They look simple, naive, almost Japanese-like, but they are incredibly powerful, really good compositions, elite compositions. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.